listen to me and listen to me real good. I've told you once, I said it 1,000 times. You get out of those pagan, satanic, religious, Christian churches. Christians do not follow the commandments of the Bible. Christians do what they want to do. They make up their own laws, their own rules, and their own regulations. Come out of her, my people, and come out from among them. And it's real simple and easy to ascertain who are these people you need to come out from. Easy. Number one, if they keep Sunday, that's an automatic sign that you need to not have any fellowship with these commandment-breaking, wicked deceivers and seducers and bewitchers of the truth. Simple.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, my family. How's everybody doing, huh? Glory to the King. Ain't that the truth, Brother Steve? It was a wonderful word. Presumptuous, huh? Self-willed, hallelujah. I'm telling you, beautiful. Yah's always on time. Thank you. I thank the Most High for continually feeding us and having mercy on us, huh? Hallelujah, glory to the King. And, doctrines of righteousness and doctrines of way we conduct ourselves as Israelites. I mean, it was a beautiful two-part meal today, huh? Glory to the King. How am I coming in? Apparently pretty good. Yeah, bless y'all. It's good to see y'all up in the room tonight. My brother Mike over across the pond. Hey, Tabernacle's coming, brother Mike. I hope you're coming. Miss you, brother. Brother Ugly, appreciate it again for always stepping in there and taking care of the postings and such. And my brother Steve and Sister Wanda in Canada, hallelujah. Brother Eric in Nebraska, good to see y'all up here. Sister Angela, glory to the King. Good to see you in there, my sister. Oh, Sister Joan, Brother Kelly, hope y'all are doing well in the windy city, or the city that's full of wind, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, bless y'all. Man, it's been a rush. I just come burning up here right after dinner, and we just got something going on all the time. And we're doing a baptism. They doing the baptism yet? No, we canceled baptism today because of creek. We've been getting so much rain here. It's just unbelievable. And the creek just seems like it never goes down, so it's been kind of tough, to get the baptisms in there. But y'all will. We'll get one in here real soon. Anyway, by the heading tonight to tonight's broadcast, I entitled it "The Woman and the Beast." And it's kind of, I haven't done anything to do with prophecy for quite a while, long while, but it's just kind of been in my spirit again to bring it back in. And, Pastor had been dealing with it here, not too long ago in some scripture studies. So it just seems something that was timely. And it's something that I've looked at in the past. I was talking to, a couple of weeks ago, talking with another saint, and we were, discussing this topic. So I figured that it was about time I just kind of bring it out. And, from this Elder Doug's perspective, it's not necessarily, etched in stone or anything, because, of course, as we get closer to the end, as we get more understanding, more learning is more revealed to us, that we can come up with even more concrete conclusions to what the Father's already written down for us. So, like I say, everything can be subject to change.
I wrote that wrong.
Oh, Brother Shane said he wrote something wrong. Anyway,
Yeah, the Woman of the East.
Oh,
I like,
Woman of the East. All right. It's actually called The Woman and the Beast, and of course that comes from Revelation 17 and 18. So, the Woman of the East. Hey. Anyway, that's the topic for tonight, and it's going to probably be at least a three-parter, because I tend to get really try to get really detailed and let the word talk for itself. So I've got a whole lot of material in front of me. Of course, it's all Bible, and I believe in trying to definitely give some concrete information or answers to what we have in front of us. And so with that, this is part one of The Woman and the Beast. We're going to start with the woman tonight, and we'll get into the woman here as we go along, and we're going to break down specific aspects of her and be able to, give you, hopefully, who exactly the woman is. Thank you, hon. Shoot, Diane stopped by, dropped me off a good cold German beer. Isn't that nice of her? That's my help me. Hallelujah. Glory to the King. All right, with that we're going to get started. All right, glory to the King. All right, I got 10 attributes that I wrote down for the woman. There is more, but I started with these 10 because, yeah, thank you, Brother Paul. It is the woman and the beast. That's what it's called. As more of the saints are showing in up into the room, bless y'all. I got to quit talking. I got to get talking about the study because I don't even think I'm going to get through it in 2 hours, but like I say, it's going to be probably at least a 3-part series, so wherever I have to stop, I stop. She says, she waves, and bless you too, my brother Mike, glory to the King. Or Brother Joel, I'm sorry. All right, the woman, what John beheld. Of course, John, we're talking about the Apostle John, the prophet John, who was given the vision in the book of Revelation. And this is what he saw. This is coming from Revelation chapter 17. Now, I got 10 things listed here. I didn't go into chapter 18 too much yet, but this is all pretty much 17. And, of course, we're going to go in depth into chapter 17 and pretty much all over the book, into the prophets, into the Gospels. We're going all over the place here. So, the woman, what John beheld. 1, he saw a woman sitting atop a scarlet-colored beast. He saw a woman dressed in scarlet and purple, decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. He saw a woman that had a golden cup in her hand filled with abominations and fornications. He saw a woman with a name written on her forehead. He saw a woman with a name that was Mystery Babylon the Great. And we're going to talk about that, of course, in great detail. He wrote that the woman is the mother of harlots and the abominations in the earth. He told us that the woman was drunken with the blood of the saints. He told us that the woman sat upon many peoples, nations, multitudes, and tongues. He says that the 10 horns of the beast shall hate the whore, which is the woman. And finally, and most importantly, is the woman is that great city. Okay, and after I look at this list, and I was trying to ask the Father the best way to go with this, and I think the best way to go is to establish that, because it says clearly in Revelation 17 that this woman, when some of this is revealed to John, the representation, the symbology behind the woman is actually a great city. Now, of course, you can put Babylon, or Babylon the Great, as it's identified in Revelation chapter 17. That there's a lot of different answers for what Babylon is. It's a system. It's a religious order. The whole thing comes out of the Roman Catholic Church. And there's all kinds of different doctrines out there. And like I do with everything, I go back a lot of times and read, not to pull from it, but I want to see what the sentiment is by, say, a lot of these Christian people, like, the ones throughout history, like Gill and Henry and Clark and Westfield, and and it's amazing how they got to twist stuff up and make stuff fit a certain doctrine, and that's all they can obviously do because they're not Israelites. They're trying to take something from an Israelite book and make it fit their understanding of something that they don't understand or haven't been given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of Yah. All right, going right into Revelation chapter 17. Revelation 17, we're starting to start at the verse 15, and we're going down to verse 18. And then we're going to go to back in the same book, and then we're going to back up to verse 3 through 6. All right, starting out Revelation 17, verse 15. And he saith unto me, the water, of course, this is the angel talking to John. He's revealing making sense to John what he just saw in the Spirit. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate, naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Yah hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yah shall be fulfilled. And verse 18, the key thing, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So here we have the clarification. Now it doesn't tell us what the city is. All we have to go off so far, and I haven't even read that part, I'm going to read that next, and is we know that there's a city called Babylon. Of course, we know that by our history. All right, going back to Revelation 17, verses 3 through 6. But we've already established, it's already been written that this woman is that great city. Not a great city, it's that. That particular city, that one. Revelation 17, 3 through 6. So he carried me in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman, that great city. Of course, now we know what the woman is, that great city. So he saw that great city sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman, or that great city, was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations, filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. So she's the progenitor of the harlots and the abomination on earth. She is the one that it was birthed from, all these things upon the earth. And I saw the woman, I saw that great city, drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. We're going to break down verse 5 a little bit. The word mystery is the Greek 3466. It's mysterion. This is all out of the Thayer definition. I'm sorry, Brother Paul, I know you only got the Strongs, but you're going to find in more and more in my broadcasts, I'm going to stick with the Thayer. I actually like how the Thayer Concordance actually puts in explanation and definition a lot of these words. All right, mystery. A hidden thing, a secret, a mystery. Generally, mysteries, religious secrets, confided only to the initiated, not to the ordinary mortals. It is a hidden or secret thing, not obvious to the understanding. So we're breaking down the word mystery, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great. So it's something that's hidden, a secret thing. It's not obvious to the understanding. You just can't see it and clearly identify it. There's something going on behind the scenes. It's hidden. We don't get the full picture because it's something that isn't put right out in the forefront. A hidden purpose or counsel, secret will of men, of Yah, the secret counsels, which govern Yah in dealing with the righteous, which are hidden from ungodly and wicked men, but plain to the godly. So it's given to us to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but those that are without, it's not been given. In the rabbinic writings, I don't know if they're talking about the Talmud or what, it denotes the mystic or hidden sense of an Old Testament saying, of an image or form seen in a vision of a dream. Okay, excuse me, but the thing I was trying to really focus on and center on is that it's a hidden or secret thing, talking about Babylon the Great, that great city. It's a secret or hidden thing. It's not obvious to the understanding when we look at it at face value. There's something actually a lot deeper. A lot of background noise. I don't know what would be causing it. I really don't. Brother Shane said he had a hum earlier and he got it out of there, and apparently it's back. I wish I could tell you. Let me try this. Hopefully that helps. All right, we covered mystery. Now we're going to go to Babylon, as in Babylon the Great. Babylon, the Greek 897, and that's how it's pronounced, Babylon. Of Hebrew origin, 894, Babylon, the capital of Chaldea, literally or figuratively as a type of tyranny. Babylon. So it's actually the depiction of a place that comes from a place that how do I want to say this? That is the center of tyranny or a tyrannical system. It's identified, the word Babylon, as something tyrannical. It comes from the Hebrew 894 Babel. It's from H1101. It means confusion. Babel, that is Babylon, including Babylonia and the Babylonian Empire, a place of confusion. Again, a hidden secret meaning. And the Hebrew 1101, Balal, where all these words are coming from, a primitive root to overflow, specifically with oil, by implication to mix, to fodder, anoint, confound, mingle, mix, give provender, temper. Okay, so anyway, what we have a place is Babylon in the Greek is a tyrannical type of environment. So we have something that's, first of all, it's a mystery, it's a hidden or secret thing, it's not obvious to the understanding, but we also know that this city, or Babylon, is not only a empire, but it's also a city. And again, we're focusing on the woman or that great city. And of course, Babylon was definitely a city, and we're going to get into that because you have to help this, make sense of this whole study. All right, and the word great. Okay, we're talking about Babylon the Great, the tyrannical capital or place, Babylonia, Babylon, the hidden meaning. So the word great, as in Babylon the Great, is the Greek 3173, and the Thayer definition has a whole bunch of stuff, but being that you don't have it there, to save a little time, I'm going to go right to the meat of what it's implying, especially in verse 5. Predicated of rank, as belonging to persons eminent for ability, virtue, authority, power. So the greatness is denoting a position of rank, as belonging to something, as a virtue, authority, power. Things highly esteemed for their importance, of great moment, of great weight, of importance. Things to be highly esteemed for its excellence, splendid, prepared on a grand scale, stately, great things, of God's preeminent blessings, of things which overstep the province of a created being, proud, presumptuous things, full of arrogance, derogatory to the majesty of Yah. So we heard that today again, didn't we, about presumption. So what we do is we broke down Mystery Babylon the Great, describing this great city, of this woman that had this written on her forehead, telling us exactly what she represents as a great city. Okay. There is great importance in defining the word great as it relates to Mystery Babylon the Great, and there is more than one way of defining what the greatness of Babylon was and will be. The greatness of the great city of Babylon, ancient and the secret, meaning the one that's hidden, or the Mystery Babylon, and the ancient, of course, is under the rule of the Chaldeans under Nebuchadnezzar. Hidden one was not only in its renown. Okay, let me kind of miss something here. The greatness of that great city of Babylon, ancient and the secret, hidden one, was not only in its renown, name, reputation, fame, and glory, but in its influence and control. Talking about the city. We know and understand that historically there was an empire called Babylon thousands of years ago. This empire came to rule all the known earth or recognized earth during his time by the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. All right. We're going to look quickly at that. So just a refresher that everybody already knows about, but just bring it up in the study to help, bring the whole thing into clarity. Daniel chapter 2, verses 1, and then Daniel chapter 2, verses 36 through 38. And in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed a dream, wherewith his spirit was troubled, and the sleep brake from him, so that the context is it's Nebuchadnezzar. So Nebuchadnezzar, he is the king of Babylon, and he is showing his influence as a tyrannical, empirical state or kingdom. This is the, okay, verse 36. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou art king of kings, for the Yah of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, strength, and glory. So who gave it to it? Yah. Yah gave him these things. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven, he hath given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. This had it goes. So the ancient city of Babylon, or the kingdom of Babylon, that empire, that tyrannical empire run by a dictatorship, by one man, King Nebuchadnezzar, ruled over all the entire known earth at that time, or what they considered over all the earth if you're reading the context. Okay, breaking this down some more. Daniel chapter 4, verses 4 through 5, and then verses 18 through 18 and 19, and then 18, what in the world? 18 through 22, and then verse 30. Boy, I hope you got all that, Brother Paul. And I still got that rush going in my spirit. I just got to slow down because it's almost been a real busy afternoon. I'm telling you, even with service and then things I have to take care of down the hill. I guess it just happens once in a while. All right, verse 4. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at rest in my house and flourishing in my palace. And I saw a dream which made me afraid, and thoughts upon my bed and the visions of my head troubled me. Going down to verse 18 through, what did I say, 22. Again, this is talking about a singular man in charge of an entire empire in the city of Babylon. This dream I, King Nebuchadnezzar, have seen. Now thou, O Belshazzar, declare the interpretation thereof. That was the Persian name of Daniel, Belteshazzar. For as much as all the wise men of my king are not able to make known unto me the interpretation, but thou art able, for the spirit of the holy gods is in thee. Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was stoned for 1 hour. And his thoughts troubled him. The king spake and said, Belteshazzar, let not the dream or the interpretation thereof trouble thee. Belteshazzar answered and said, my master, the dream be to them that hate the interpretation thereof to thy enemies. All right, verse 20, talking about what happens to Nebuchadnezzar during his kingdom reign. And you can read the chapter farther and find out what happened to him. He defied Yah, and of course he was made to eat like a beast of the field. The tree that thou sawest, which grew and was strong, whose height reached unto heaven, and the sight thereof all the earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all, under which the beasts of the field dwelt, and upon whose branches the fowls of heaven had their habitation. It is thou, O king, that art grown, become strong, for thy greatness is grown, and reacheth unto heaven, and thy dominion to the end of the earth. Verse 30, the king spake and said, is not this great Babylon, talking about not only the empire, but of course the city is in, that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power, and for the honor of my majesty. All right, in contrasting and in comparing, in Revelation 17 we have Babylon the Great, the city and the empire, and in Daniel we have Great Babylon, the city and the empire. Okay, remember, Babylon the Great and Great Babylon, both of which were described as ruling the entire known world in their respective times. Ancient Babylon is an archetype of the woman Babylon in Revelation 17 and 18. An archetype is an essence, it's a representation, it's an embellishment of the actual thing. So what I'm trying to say here is that we can get a better understanding of the description of the contrast when John saw the name Mystery Babylon the Great. It was indicative of the empire Babylon, or that great city Babylon. There was some particular focus. I mean, why didn't it say that Nineveh the Great or one of these other great? Because there was a focus trying to put us back on that city of that great city, the city of Babylon during Nebuchadnezzar's time, the one that brought Israel into bondage, the one that had rule over the entire known earth at that time. There's a significance in actually making the connection between the two. And again, that Babylon in the past was an archetype or representation of what we need to look at to get a better understanding of the fulfillment of Babylon as it has to do with the woman, if I made sense. This clearly, let me see. But there are two distinctions which are apparent between the two. The first Babylon, in reality, did not have complete rule over the entire earth, but only that which was acknowledged at that time, whereas the Babylon of Revelation 17 will indeed have rule over the entire earth. Remember, the woman, which had that name written on her forehead, is representative of that great city, and it can also be a system. But first of all, there has to be something coming out established by the woman to represent the entire system, which has to do with also her sitting on top of the beast, as we'll get into that later. This clearly defines the greatness of the two. The first Babylon was of less greatness than the Babylon which has come, which we will truly be great Babylon, or the one we're going to see coming in the last 3.5 years of Great Tribulation. The Babylon of old serves as a sort of shadow and type of the Babylon which John saw, in order to help define what Babylon represents. So in essence, we have Babylon the Less and Babylon the Great. When I'm talking about Babylon Less, of course, being the city under Nebuchadnezzar and that empire. It wasn't as big and magnificent and as huge and as overpowering as the Babylon in Revelation 17 will be. Both great cities and great empires, but one being much greater. Later in this study, we will bring out another crucial point about the greatness of Babylon, or rather, mystery Babylon the Great. And we will. There's two definitions of the greatness, or more than that, but I focused on two. Oh, I sure hope y'all are with me in this, because, I got a lot of information here, and my head's going like this, like one of these tape recorders on rewind so you can listen to it again. Remember the old reel-to-reels? All right, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. All right, anyway, okay. Hey, I ran across this when I was doing studying some research to do this blog talk presentation, and I call it some fun facts, so I'm going to read them to you. Nabal-Polassar founded the Neo-Babylonian dynasty, and his son Nebuchadnezzar II expanded the kingdom until it became an empire embracing much of southwest Asia. The imperial capital of Babylon was refurbished with the new temple and palace buildings and extensive fortification, walls and gates, and paved processional ways. It was at that time the largest city of the known world. So we have history backing up the fact that this was the largest city of the known world back in its day, and covering more than 1,000 hectares, or some 2,500 acres. This is how big they attributed Babylon, ancient Babylon, the city to. Okay, but Vatican City, which many people, especially in the Christian realm, are totally convinced that the woman of Revelation 17 is the Roman Catholic Church and the Vatican and the Pope and so on and so forth. And these are the evil, wicked people that have come back and are going to sit on the beast and bring power, and control of the whole world. Sorry, but it's not. So that I can be assured of. But remember, that woman is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So she obviously is going to have control over all the peoples, the waters, the multitudes, the nations, the entire span of the earth. The control is going to emanate out of Babylon the Great. All right, Vatican City is a total of 109 acres, or 2,391 acres less than the ancient city of Babylon. This would make today's Vatican less and the ancient Babylon greater in size alone. So I just threw that in there, because if you're talking greatness in landmass, it's not even close. You got the little speck Vatican City, you got this 2,500 acre the city of ancient Babylon. And I'm going to give you another fast fact here when I get a little bit farther right after these next two scriptures. All right, I'm going to tell you who I believe that Mystery Babylon the Great actually is. But it's a mystery because we can't see it physically, because it's never been told to us. And I always, every time I read it, I marvel at the fact that John a lot of times in his descriptions of things, he just wasn't able to come out and say exactly what we knew it to be, because there was things going on spiritually. He no longer could actually describe it that way. All right, thank you for the reassurance that it's coming out clear, okay? Hallelujah. All right, Revelation chapter 11, verses 7 and 8. Revelation 11, verse 7 and 8. Remember, we are talking about who or what that great city is. Babylon the Great, that woman. Oh, sorry. All right, verse 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, of course, this is talking about the two prophets, the two witnesses that come and prophesy for 1,260 days. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them, and kill them. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of that great city. Okay? So we have another description of a great city where they're going to lie in. Brother Ugly's already got it up there, so he already beat me to the punch, which spiritually is called Sodom in Egypt, in the spirit, or in the spiritual realm, where also our Master was crucified, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. This is where he crucified. And of course, that is the only one place in the entire planet that is the city of Jerusalem. So we have a description of that great city, which we know beyond the shadow of doubt, because that is where Jesus was crucified, is Jerusalem. And so who do I believe that Babylon the Great is? That mystery Babylon? It's going to be the future city of Jerusalem. And I'm going to proceed to prove my point in depth. The last two prophets of the Most High will come upon the face of the earth at the end, during the days of the great tribulation, will be put to death, and their dead bodies will lie in the street of that great city, which of course can only be the city of Jerusalem. For this is the city where our Master and Messiah Jesus our Christ was crucified. It is strange, though, that John did not simply write that the two witnesses' dead bodies would lie in the streets of Jerusalem, or that great city Jerusalem, rather than just that great city. So John, knowing that Jesus was crucified in Jerusalem, he was there for Pete's sake, why didn't he write, they shall lie in the streets of Jerusalem? He made it a point to use the great city. All right? What was the purpose behind this? We will provide an answer to that question later in the study, but for now let's get a better understanding as to why John described that great city, Jerusalem, as in the spirit of Sodom and Egypt, which is spiritually, the host of heaven, whoever else in the spiritual realm actually could see the degradation, the moral decay, the complete removal of any holiness to what modern-day Jerusalem is now. And it's quickly declining, and there's going to come a point in time where there will be no holiness left in the place at all, except for those that are hidden, and of course the two prophets out in the wide open. But again, we'll get into that. Isaiah chapter 1, verses 9. Let me see, this is a big one. 9 through 24. Wow. Isaiah 1, 9 through 24. Except the Master of Hosts had left us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. Notice that Isaiah says we should have been as Sodom, meaning that there had not been had there not been some faithful Israelites still in the land in the city of Jerusalem. Because if you go back and look at Isaiah, the whole account, I left out the beginning, but he's actually talking about in the city of Jerusalem. Because of course in Isaiah and Jeremiah specifically, that they talk about the conquering, going and taking in captivity Judah under the hand of Nebuchadnezzar. That's where all the prophecies were focused towards our people at that time. So anyway, he said we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. Well, what was that like? meaning that there had not been some faithful Israelites still in the land in the city of Jerusalem. Yahweh had nothing left to do but to give Jerusalem the same destruction as Sodom. So just like Sodom was in the days of Lot, before he destroyed it, there was still some faithful and righteous there. Otherwise, it would have been just as Sodom. And that was way back then. So there was still a remnant in the city. And just like Sodom, Jerusalem will also be destroyed when the remnant of the Most High Yah are removed completely, just as in the day when the city of Sodom was destroyed. Okay, just repeating what I said. Going on to verse 10. Hear ye the word of the Most High, you rulers of Sodom. Give ear unto the law of our Yah, ye people of Gomorrah. So we're talking about Sodom. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me? Now, is he really talking about Sodom, or is he still talking about the city of Jerusalem? He's making a correlation here between what was going on that time in the city of Jerusalem and using the pretext of the city of Sodom, knowing full well the history of what happened to Sodom and up until that point. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me, saith the Most High? I am full of the burnt offering of rams and the fat of fed beasts, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks or lambs or of he-goats. Now, they're not doing these sacrifices in Sodom, the literal city. This is in Jerusalem during that time. But this is all the stuff that gives you an idea of why it is called, spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. When you come to appear before me, who hath required this at your hand to tread my courts? And we're going to hear about that in Revelation 11:1 and 2. Bring no more vain oblations, incenses and abomination to me, the new moons and the Sabbaths, the callings of the assembly. I cannot away with it. I cannot away with. It is an iniquity, even the solemn meeting. Your new moons and your appointed feasts my soul hateth. They are troubled unto me, and I am weary to bear them. And when you spread forth your hands, I will hide mine eyes from you. When you make your prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood. Remember, spiritual Sodom, spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Wash you, make you clean, put away the evil of your doings from before mine eyes. Cease to do evil. What did God do? What did Yah do back then? He sent prophets to prophesy unto Jerusalem. Learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow. Come now and let us reason together, saith the Master. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be white as snow. They be like red like crimson. They shall be as wool. If you be willing, obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of the Most High has spoken it. Verse 21. How is the faithful city become a harlot? It was full of judgment, righteousness, lodged in it, but now murderers. The silver has become dross, the wine mixed with the water. There's no clear indication who the holy are as compared to the who aren't. You can't tell the difference between the godly and the ungodly, so they basically are become all ungodly. Thy princes are rebellious, and the companion of thieves. Everyone loveth gifts. And it's amazing, we'll get later on in the study, you'll find a lot of what the description is for the Jerusalem them is the same description that gives to Babylon the Great. Everyone loveth gifts and follow after rewards. They judge not the fathers, neither does the cause of the widow come unto them. Now, these are all the attributes that a harlot carries, so we can expect this under the rule of the mother of harlots, or Mystery Babylon the Great. Now listen to this. This is all the things that just reading these few verses has to do with the actions of a harlot. They're murderers, they're thieves, they love gifts, they love following after rewards or being bought with a price. They don't judge or vindicate, defend, or uphold the fatherless. They will not hear the hardships and causes of the widows. Of course, those which have no husband or support to watch over them. They're totally void of any love for anything other than them own selves. These are all the virtues of, well, not all of them, but a good indication of what a harlot's spirit or manner or type, their character is. Verse 24, Thus saith the Master, the Yah of hosts, the mighty one of Israel, I will ease me of mine adversaries and avenge me of mine enemies. All right, Ezekiel chapter 16, and all through the study I wanted to list the entire Ezekiel chapter 16 because I don't think there's more perfect indication of the moral degradation of Jerusalem than that one chapter. I mean, and it also talks about Sodom in there. That's why we have to bring it out because Sodom and Jerusalem in that chapter are described as sisters. Ezekiel chapter 16 verses 48 through 50, and Ezekiel 16:26, and then Ezekiel 27 and 8. So we're jumping around Ezekiel here. As I live, saith the Master of Hosts, Sodom thy sister hath not done, she nor her daughters, as thou hast done, thou and thy son. So Yah is making a comparison through Ezekiel, a difference between Jerusalem and Sodom. Remember, Jerusalem, or that city that is great city that is called, spiritually called Sodom, in Egypt. Sodom thy sisters, meaning that those things which were found in Jerusalem were also the same things that Sodom was guilty of at the time. That's why you could use the same parallel between Sodom thy sister. Jerusalem and Sodom were sisters, as they were both sentenced because of the same behaviors and the same mannerisms. Verse 49, behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom. Pride, fullness of bread, and abundance of idleness was in her and her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy. Notice how that keeps coming back up. Strengthening the hand of the poor and needy. The one thing, even pastors said many times, this is what defines a country or people, or the love that they have for people. We find absolutely in this degraded, harlot state that there's going to be no care for the poor, the needy, or the widowless. Verse 50, and they were haughty and committed abomination before me. Therefore I took them away as I saw good, talking about the actual city of Sodom. Yah destroyed it. Took his righteous out, wiped it out. Y'all know the story. All right, Ezekiel 16, verse 26, and then Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 7 and 8. All right, verse 26. Thou hast also committed fornication with who? The Egyptians. Boy, spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Thy neighbor's great of flesh, describing the character of Egypt. Even back then, Sodom joined itself to Egypt, and the nation of Egypt was great of flesh. Has increased thy whoredoms because they joined on to Egypt, to provoke me to anger. Even farther made the Most High furious, and had causing to pour out his wrath. And I thought about, meditated on that great of flesh, and my list is nakedness, shameless, great of nakedness and shameless. These are pleasure seekers, those things which bring satisfaction to the lust of the flesh, those things which are outwardly idolatry or idolatrous practices. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 7 and 8. Then I said unto them, cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with, again, the idols of Egypt. I am the Yahweh the Elohim. That's all that Egypt is accounted for, is they're a big flesh pot, and they're a place just full of idolatry. So we know that spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Verse 8, but they were built against me and would not hearken to me. They did not every man cast away the abomination of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. And I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. All right, Revelation chapter 18, verse 1 and 2. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. Okay, this is a male figure. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen. Again, Babylon the Great. That's the emphasis. Babylon the Great is fallen, and is what? And is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of unclean and hateful birds. So when was the fall of Babylon? Not actually its destruction. Something happened that actually brought upon the nature of the fallen state, the complete fallen state. And at that time it became the habitation of devils. The hold of every foul spirit was totally inundated with this stuff. And of course, this is talking about Jerusalem. And the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. The mystery Babylon, or present-day Jerusalem. It is apparent why John wrote of the future state of Jerusalem in the words he used, as the last day great city Jerusalem will be in such a wicked, defiled state that in the spirit it could no longer be seen or called the holy city as it once was. At a point in the very near future, the city of Jerusalem will be completely overrun with heathen pagan Gentiles, just as John and Jesus told us it would be. Revelation chapter 11, verse 1 and 2. Revelation 11, 1 and 2. And there was given me a reed like unto the rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of Yah and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure not. Remember, we heard about the court in Isaiah chapter 1. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not. For what? It is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under 40 and tread underfoot 40 and 2 months. All right, the word tread. Greek 3961, pateo. In the Thayer definition, it means to tread, to trample, crush with your feet, to advance by setting foot upon, tread upon, to encounter successfully the greatest perils from the machinations and persecutions with which Satan would feign thwart the preaching of the gospel. Man, I got my lip all twisted up. To tread underfoot, trample on, i.e. to treat with insult and contempt, to desecrate the holy city by devastation and outrage. I thought that was a very, very good description in the Thayer. For it is given unto the Gentiles, the holy city shall they tread, or the holy city shall they treat with insult and contempt. The holy city shall they desecrate with devastation and outrage. All right, these two verses require some deeper evaluation as I'm talking about Revelation 11, 1 and 2, as they tell us of something which appears as though it already exists. The holy city, Jerusalem, has been under the influence and control of impostor Israelites for quite some time now. So how is it possible that it would be wholly engulfed with Gentiles if that already seems the case? The fact is that there is still a true remnant in the modern-day city of Jerusalem. That's my own opinion, but I do believe that. And I have other text proof in Revelation 11 to help back that up, which upholds the righteousness of Yah openly. Okay, they can view their faith openly. I mean, they can do it. You can infiltrate it. You can show yourself to be believing that. I mean, there's believers that say they love Jesus. They go over there to the Holy Land every year by the thousands, to walk the same dirt that, the Messiah, and so they feel holier, closer to Yah, whatever the case is. But which upholds the righteousness of Yah openly, but in the very near future, their voices will be silenced, and all they do for the Most High will have to be done basically in secret. Notice John says, and we're going to go look in the book of Daniel and get a little more information on that. Notice John says that the holy city of Jerusalem will be given unto the Gentiles. That's very key, meaning that it's not theirs right now, but it will be given. That reminds me, as I was, typing this up, that 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, where it says that he will now let until he be taken out of the way. So at some point, this whole thing, Yah is going to remove himself from whatever presence he has in Jerusalem, and then we're going to have this coming of the Gentiles. They're just going to, just come down on the place. Remember, it says in Revelation 18 that this is the hold of every unclean, foul spirit. Everything that's defiled is all of a sudden going to be there. So it's given unto the Gentiles, meaning that in all resemblance to holiness and the truth of the word of Yah will be no more, and the openly open, unhidden light in that city will come by the presence. Oh, and the unhidden light in that city will come by the presence of the two witnesses openly declaring Yah's word, and those are the remnant operating behind the scenes. Now remember, the prophets were always sent back to Yah's people to, convict the ungodly to turn from their ungodly ways, or the wicked to bring their hearts and their ways back to Yah. So, and of course you read towards the end of Revelation chapter 11, right before the third woe comes, is that, talks about after the two witnesses were killed and they were taken up, that said the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the King of heaven, gave glory to Yah. Now that's not going to be the defiled Gentiles doing that in the city of Jerusalem, so that tells me that there's still going to be a presence in that time on the city, the wicked city of Jerusalem, though it's going to be suppressed. If I may be so bold. Daniel chapter 11, verses 30 through, 30 through 35. Oh my goodness, it's almost 7 o'clock, and I got 27 pages. I'm only to page 10. We are not going to get this all done tonight. Anyway, hallelujah. All right, Daniel chapter 11, starting at verse 30. Again, 30 through 35. For the ships of Kittim shall come against him, therefore he shall be grieved, and return and have indignation against the holy covenant. So shall he. What he's going to have against the holy covenant. And a lot of people, including myself, look at this king of the north, or this king that is Daniel 11, this last king, that this is actually the Antichrist, the son of perdition, Satan incarnate in a man. Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the holy covenant. Why? Because this is what is stopping him continually. So shall he do. He shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant. Here come your Ashkenazi Edomite Jews in that land. And arms shall stand on his part, meaning military forces, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength. Remember, it says Jerusalem shall be encamped about with armies and compassed. Jesus, when you see Jerusalem compassed about with armies, know that the desolation thereof is nigh. This is what this is talking about. So arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. I'm going to give you everything, gifts, and pervert you with gifts and positions of power and whatever else. But the people that do know Yah shall be strong and do. Now the word exploits, it's actually an added word. Personally, I really don't think it fits quite right to me, but anyway, whatever, that's neither here nor there. But when it says shall be strong and do, it means they shall prevail and succeed. So the people that know Yah, they're going to prevail and succeed. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many, yet they shall fall by the sword. So the ones that are given the understanding among the people that are giving instructions, these are the ones that are going to fall by the sword, the flame, by captivity, and by spoil many days. Remember, the beast in Revelation 13 came to wage war on the saints. But this is going to be for many days, at least 13 or 1,260 days. I'm saying more like 1,290 days, but again, that's another point of study. Now, when they shall fall, they shall be holpen with little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries. They don't want to jump in all the way in, because if they do, they're going to be marked to as aiding and abetting criminals. And some of them, understanding, shall fall, to try them, to purge, and to make them wait, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a appointed time. There is no argument that Messiah was crucified in the city of Jerusalem, but what is obvious is that John did not refer to Jerusalem as the holy city in Revelation 8, chapter 11, verse 8, but the great city when writing about the death of the last two prophets. When John was told to measure the temple in Revelation 11, 1 and 2, he writes that the holy city will be trodden on the Gentiles, that it was given to the Gentiles, not that the great city will be trodden down of the Gentiles. If I'm making sense, why didn't John just say in verse 2 of Revelation 11 that great city will be trodden down by the Gentiles? He was still making the distinction between the holy city before it became trodden down, then after that it was known as the great city, or Babylon the Great. It is clear that the status of the city, which was called by Yah's name, and when it was called by Yah's name, that is very deep in the covenant understanding, because anything that is called by the husband's name is present of ownership. It's the covering, and Yah, of course, we know the New Jerusalem is actually described as his bride in Revelation 21, coming down as a bride adorned out of heaven. Yah's married to this city. He owns this place. He has the ownership. His name is on the city. And had become that great city, no longer the holy city upon the Gentiles, become the only inhabitants of Jerusalem. There's no longer any reason for Yah to still have his name on that city, because it was wholly given to the Gentiles. As all the true seed of Yahweh had fled or gone into hiding, were operating behind the scenes when the abomination and desolation was set up. And of course, we just read that in Daniel, when they would come in with the armies and and made a pact with those that forsake the covenant. Luke 20, and he has to make the Antichrist has to make the covenant with those that actually portray the ones that are upholding the covenant to get credibility, because he has to use this word, this Bible that we read, as the prophecies that were written foretelling of his coming, like they did of Jesus. He's taking the place, he's being the false Messiah, if you know what I'm talking about. Luke chapter 21, verses 22 through 24. Luke 21, 22 through 24. For these be the days of vengeance. What days is that? When the city of Jerusalem, that holy city which becomes that great city, will be surrounded with armies. I have trouble saying that word. Compassed. Thank you, Father. Anyway, they're surrounded with armies, and that all these things which are written may be fulfilled. But one do that are child with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Matthew chapter 24, verses 15. In fact, that was dualistic in prophecy. Anyway, Matthew chapter 24, verses 15 through 21. And one of the reasons that Jesus made this known to us, because he is giving us a heads-up warning that if you're in that area on a certain time frame, get your butt and get the hell out of there. Because if you don't, you're going to be definitely under the watch of the Antichrist, or if you get discovered, the edge of the sword, whatever. But Yah is always going to have a remnant in his city. All right, Matthew 24, verses 15. I forgot what I said, 15 through 21. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, which we read in chapter 11, stand in the holy place, whosoever read, let him understand. Then let him which be in Judea flee into the land of Judah, that area of Judah, Yehuda, flee into the mountains. Let him which is in the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Because the fleeing comes when the abomination of desolation takes up. It comes when the Antichrist takes over the city by force. It's wholly given unto the Gentiles. So anybody that's in that city, the warning is here, get the hell out. Let him which is in the housetop not come down and take anything out of his house. I mean, this is urgent. You ain't got time to screw around. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. If you value your life, get up and go. And woe unto them are with child, and them get suck in those days, of course, because they're going to have to be taken care of, the infants. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, nor on the Sabbath day. And then what happens? For then, at that time when this happens, then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world, to this time, no, nor ever shall be. The one focal point in all of mankind, the greatest days of tribulation. And of course, that's at the end. These verses were the pronouncement from the Most High against the ancient city of Babylon. The verses we're going to read right now are in Isaiah chapter 48. Again, we see very similar details in the events coming against Babylon the Great, or Mystery Babylon the Great, and the archetype of the ancient city of Babylon, or the empire of Babylon. All right, Isaiah chapter 48, verses 12 to 22. All right, hearken unto me, O Jacob and Israel, my call. I am he, I am the first, I also am the last. So Yah is making to the prophet Isaiah, he's hearkening unto his people, Jacob and Israel. These two houses, listen to me. I got something to tell you. My hand also hath laid the foundation in the earth, my right hand hath spanned the heavens. When I call unto them, they stand up together. All ye assemble yourselves and hear, which among them have declared these things. The Most High hath loved him. He will do his pleasure on Babylon, his arm shall be on the Chaldeans. This is talking about the ancient Babylon, the city of Babylon, the empire of Babylon. Yah is beginning to declare what he's going to do to this Babylon back then. The same type of description that he's going to do, exactly countering it in the book of Revelations, what he's going to do to Babylon the Great. It's the same judgment. I have spoken, yea, I have called him, I have brought him, ye shall make his way prosperous. Come ye near unto me, hear ye this, I have not spoken in secret from the beginning. Yah has made this plain. From that time that it was, there am I. And now the Master, Yahweh the Elohim, and his Spirit has sent me. Thus saith the Most High, the Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, I am Yahweh the Elohim, which teacheth thee the prophet, which lead thee by the way that thou shouldest go. O that thou hast hearkened to my commandments, then had thy peace been as river, and thy righteousness as the waves of the sea. Thy seed also has been as the sand, and the offspring of thy bowels like the gravel thereof. His name should not have been cut off nor destroyed from before me. Go ye forth of Babylon. Again, this is also declaring way before Jesus made the declaration. We see the abomination, desolation set up. Get the heck out. We got the same type of thing going on here with this ancient Babylon. Go ye forth of Babylon, flee from the Chaldeans. With the voice of singing, declare ye this, tell this, utter it even to the end of the earth. Say, the Master hath redeemed his servant Jacob. Took him back, brought him back into his captivity. And they thirsted not when they led him to the deserts. He caused the waters to flow to the rock for them. He clave the rock also, and the waters gushed out. There is no peace, saith Yahweh, unto the wicked. So even this time, Yahweh saying, get, through the voice of the prophet, get out of her, come out of her, my people. I got some destruction coming down on Babylon. And of course, we read that very clearly on Babylon the Great, the woman, that great city in Revelation 18. The city of Jerusalem was a city chosen specifically by the Creator himself to put his name there. What time is it? I might take a ministry break here quick. Yeah, we're going to do that real quick, Saints. We're going to take a ministry break because I've got to get a drink of water or something here. Let me see. Right there. All right, we'll be back in a minute.
Shalom, this is Sister Wenda. I hope that all of you are enjoying the broadcast that you're listening to right now. We appreciate each and every last one of you, our faithful listeners and supporters of the Straitway Truth radio broadcast. We try to make sure that we do our due diligence and do our best to ensure that you have the best broadcast as well as the truth coming to you in the hour that we're living in right now. If you would like to help us in this endeavor, your offering will be greatly appreciated in the work of the ministry of the Most High Yah. Our mailing address for your gift, offering, or letter of support is Charles Dowell Jr. That's Charles Dowell Jr. And Dowell is spelled Dowell. 506 Ellington Drive. Ellington is spelled Ellington. P.O. Box 32, Lafayette, Tennessee. And Lafayette is spelled Lafayette 37083. Again, our mailing address is Charles Dowell Jr., 506 Ellington Drive, P.O. Box 32, Lafayette, Tennessee, 37083. If you would like to contact us by way of phone, the country code is 1, area code 615-688-3025. That's 1-615-688-3025. You may leave a message there. Be the Father's will, we will do whatever we can to try to return your message. It is our hope and our prayer that as you continue to listen to the Straitway Truth Ministry, and as you apply the teachings of this ministry, that you are finding peace and growth within you, your family, and life as well. Please tell others so that the truth may also have an impact and touch others' lives so that they may enjoy the benefits of the truth of Jesus Christ just like we all are. Shalom, the King is coming.
Glory to King. The King is coming. I love hearing the end of that. Hallelujah. Wonderful. All right, we're back on the air again. I'm glad that y'all are enjoying the message. And Brother Eric, by golly, Brother Victor bailed me out, man. So the brothers are taking care of their old elder up here. Hallelujah. Glory to the King. Anyway, getting back into it, we got a whole bunch of ground to cover yet. In case you're new to my blog talk studies, this is your first time, you're going to find out that Elder Doug does a lot of reading, incredible amount of reading. But hey, that's just the way that the Father lays it out for me to approach these studies and bring and bring these things before the saints. So I give him glory for that. All right, the city of Jerusalem was a city chosen specifically by the Creator himself to put his name there. She was a special lady in Yah's sight, and he covered her, made her his own, and gave her his name. But as we will see, she played the whore, and she will once again do the same thing, become known as Babylon the Great, that great city which no longer remained holy, righteous, and obedient to her husband, went and played the harlot by bringing in every wicked, abominable, imaginable thing. It is something how the man of sin will sit in the city which once belonged to Yahweh. And this Antichrist false Messiah will make this city his own. He has to emulate, Satan has to emulate Yah in everything that happens spiritually and naturally to give him any credibility. He can't do it on his own. Yah can limit him in just every and anything. You can see that case with Job. Does Satan have power? Does he have influence? Of course he does. Is he more wise than anybody that's on the face of this earth? Absolutely. I mean, and again, but Yah is the one that restricts what he can do, so Satan can only take what Yah gives him. And when the city becomes totally polluted, go ahead, you can have it saved, because I'm going to be bringing a new one here upon the earth. All right, Ezekiel chapter 16. Verses 7 and 8. I'm telling you, it was the brownie. I had like 2 brownies again for dessert, and I quit doing that. All right, Ezekiel 16, 7 and 8. I have caused thee to multiply as the bud of the field, and thou hast increased and waxed great, and thou art come to excellent ornaments. Yah's talking about his holy city, the one that he covered with his name, called that city his own, Jerusalem. And he's actually in Ezekiel 16, I'm sure you've all read it, that he's likening the city to a her, to a woman. And later on, we read earlier about Sodom, the sister to Jerusalem. Thy breasts are fashioned, and thine hair is grown, whereas thou was naked and bare. Now when I passed by thee, and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love. I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, saith Yahweh the Elohim, and thou becamest mine. He gave Jerusalem his name. It became holy. It became renowned, great. Babylon the Great. It was a city of renown because Yah's name was there, because his presence was there, because this was the center of where, of course, the temple came into and a bunch of other things. But the fact of the matter is, he called it his own. It was his. It was under his ownership. He covered the city, and of course, it goes and defiles itself. 1 Kings 11, verse 36. 1 Kings 11, 36. And unto his son will I give one tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem. So there's going to be someone in the city that is going to present the light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen me to put my name there. Jeremiah 25, 29 and 30. Jeremiah 25, 29 and 30. For lo, I begin to bring evil upon the city which is called by my name. And should you be utterly unpunished, you shall not be unpunished, for I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, saith Yahweh the Elohim. So what he's saying, if I'm not only going to judge my city, y'all ain't going to get off, because you're just as wicked as hell. I mean, this is a city called by my name, and I'm going to bring punishment to it. I'm going to deal it out with everybody. Therefore prophesy thou against them all these words, and say unto them, the Yahweh the Master of hosts shall roar from on high, and utter his voice from his holy habitation. Sound just like what? Revelation chapter 19, when the king comes back. He shall mightily roar upon his habitation. He shall give a shout, as they that tread that grapes, against all the inhabitants on the earth. But what city is he doing this to? Of course, Jerusalem again, Jeremiah 25. And same thing in the end, too. Mystery Babylon. Daniel chapter 9, verses 16 through 19. Daniel 9, 16 through 19. O Yahweh, according to all thy righteousness, I beseech thee, let thine anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city, Jerusalem, thy holy mountain. Because for our sins and on the iniquities of our father, Jerusalem thy people are become a reproach to all that are about us. Now therefore, Yahweh Elohim, our Yah, hear the prayer of thy servant and his supplications, and cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary that is desolate for the Most High's sake. O my Elohim, my Yah, incline thine ear and hear. Open thine eyes and behold our desolations, and the city which is called by thy name. For we do not present our supplications before thee for our righteousness, but for thy great mercies. I mean, they're begging for mercy, Father, please. O Yahweh, hear, O Yahweh, forgive, O Yahweh, hearken and do, defer not, for thine own sake. O my Yah, for thy city, and for thy people that are called by thy name. Isaiah chapter 66, verses 19 and 20. Again, we're just trying to bring out the fact that Jerusalem was called by Yah's name, Most High, Yahweh Elohim. It was under his ownership, but even in this end time, it's going to become so defiled, so polluted, that it's going to be given wholly to the Gentiles to trot underfoot 40 and 2 months. And of course, you all know the end of the story. All the armies are going to meet in the Valley of Armageddon, and we're going to talk about the earthquake and everything that happens in judgment to Jerusalem. Isaiah 66:19, what did I say? 19 and 20. And I will set a sign among them, will send those that escape of them unto the nations, to Tarshish, Pul, and Lud, that draw the bow, to Tubal and Javan, to the isles afar off that have not heard my fame, neither have seen my glory, and they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles. And they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Most High out of all nations, upon horses and chariots and in litters, upon mules and upon swift beasts, to my holy mountain Jerusalem, saith the Most High, as the children of Israel bring an offering, clean vessel into the house of the Most High. So we pretty much established that Jerusalem, ancient Jerusalem, all the way up until the time of the coming in of the Gentiles, the complete overthrow, and when it comes under the control of Satan, is still the holy city. And again, I'm sorry about that. You know, my own opinion about that is because Yah still has a remnant there and will continue to have a remnant there. There is much agreement among those of Christianity which insist that Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, and the abominations is the Holy Roman Catholic Church, and they use primarily the colors of the clothing that the woman which sat atop the beast wore, and the 7 hills that she ruled over as undeniable proof. However, what they fail to adequately explain is how Rome, or more so Vatican City, can be that great city held solely responsible for the deaths of Yah's holy prophets, apostles, and his saints. The fact is that Vatican City wasn't even a thought or reality when these holy men of Yah, or many of his people, were put to death. Most of the prophets were killed up in time of Jesus. There was no Vatican City. There was no Rome. There was no Holy Roman Church. So who did this responsibility, this judgment lie on? It wasn't Rome. It never will be. I'm going to go back to the fun facts here for a minute again. That's something I left out earlier. I didn't want to squeal on myself too earlier. Remember I was talking about the size of the ancient city of Babylon? It was 2,500 acres, and then the Vatican was 109 acres. Well, here's the size of modern-day Jerusalem. It compasses 48.3 square miles, or 30,720 acres. Now that's a big city. That is an impressive city. All right, let me see where we're at. All right, Revelation chapter 18, verses 16 and 17, and then verse 20. 16, 17, and verse 20. And saying, alas, alas, that great city. Which great city are we talking about? Babylon the Great, or Jerusalem, that great city, as it says in Revelation 11. That great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. So John's going back to describe exactly how he described the woman, that great city, in Revelation 17. For in 1 hour so great riches has come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors, many as trade by sea, stood afar off. In verse 20, rejoice over her, thou heaven. Rejoice over who? That great city, that Babylon the Great, that great city Jerusalem where our Master was crucified, which spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, ye holy apostles and prophets, for Yah hath avenged you on her. No, he avenged the Vatican. Or he went against the Vatican, the Holy Roman Catholic Church, because of what they did to the prophets and the apostles. That's ridiculous. It's absurd. How to even make that? That's one of the cases where you take one or two things. But if you go back and look at, this doctrine that this is the Catholic Church and she's the mother, yeah, of course she had some. She does have some daughters. That are all the religions that follow, but they're no way, shape, or form are the ones that have ever been accountable against the death of the apostles and the prophets. They couldn't. They weren't even in existence. And we're going to substantiate it by the words of Jesus himself. Revelation 18:23 and 24. And the light of a candle shall no more shine in thee at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And in her, in where? In her. What is her? It's that great city. Was found the blood of the prophets and of the saints and of all that were slain upon the earth. That great city, Babylon the Great, the mystery, the one that's hidden from the outward appearance, that we don't know until we get there, when it's finally revealed. But as we know that it's revealed for all the earth, we actually see it taking place, but we know by reading thus far that it is going to be Yah's holy city that will become totally heathen, pagan, and under the rule of the Antichrist. Of course, in this city was found the blood of the prophets and the saints and all that were slain upon the earth. Matthew chapter 23, verses 29 through 39. Matthew 23, 29 through 39. Let's see what Jesus says about Jerusalem. One, you scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous. And I say, if it had been in the days of our fathers, we would have not been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Wherefore be you witnesses unto yourselves, that you are the children of them which killed the prophets. Fill you up in the measure of your fathers, you serpents, you generation of vipers, how can you escape the damnation of hell? Wherefore, behold, I send unto you. He's in the city of Jerusalem. And we're going to prove that he's talking about Jerusalem when we get a few farther down here. I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, not to the Vatican and Rome. He's sending this to Jerusalem. I send you prophets and wise men, because Yah's people aren't in Rome. They aren't in the Vatican. They aren't in what this earth calls that holy city, that because it's under the control of the Catholic Church. He's not going to send two prophets to Rome. He's going to send them to what used to be his holy city. Come on, just put two and two together. I send you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them you shall kill and crucify, and some of you shall scourge in your synagogues and persecute them from city to city. Verse 35, that upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel and the blood of Zacharias, son of Barachias, whom you slew between the temple and the altar. Truly I say unto you, all these things shall come upon this generation. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Now he's going to make a distinction. Who's responsible for this? Thou that killest the prophets and stonest them which I sent unto thee. How often would I have gathered thy children together, even as an hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and you would not? How many times has Jesus, or the Most High, sent his prophets to that city and pleaded and begged with them, and finally had no other choice but to bring destruction on it. And finally, in the end, it's going to be total destruction, annihilation. But Jesus said in verse 38, behold, your house is left unto you desolate. For I say unto you, you shall not see me henceforth till you shall say, blessed is he that cometh in the name of Yahweh. And that, of course, is going to be at the end. Luke chapter 13, verse 34 and 35. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem again, which killest the prophets and stonest them which are sent unto thee. How often would I have gathered thy children together as a hen doth gather her brood under her wings, and ye would not. Behold, your house is left unto you desolate, and truly I say unto you, you shall not see me until the time come when you shall say, Blessed is he that cometh in the name of Yahweh. Remember when Jesus was on the cross, or before he was going to Calvary, and what the scribes and Pharisees said? He said, let his blood be upon us and upon our children. And that's, of course, that blame, that distinction is going to come back and be with them, people forever. So when they come and say that they're going to be responsible for the prophets, the apostles, and the blood of all the saints, that's part of the reason why. As I just stated earlier, there are many which believe wholeheartedly that the woman of Revelation 17 and 18 is the Roman Catholic Church, and base this belief by primarily what she is described by John as wearing. The sole reason Rome uses the same, now listen to me very carefully this, the sole reason Rome uses the same color scheme as the woman, remember this was written, as that of the great city Jerusalem is to identify her as one of the daughters and not the harlot mother. She is not the mother, she is one of the harlots. I mean, that may sound crazy, but that's what I believe to be the case. I mean, look at the Pope. He wears that stupid, what do they call it, skull cap. They may have a more proper name. Where do you think they got that from? These Pharisaical Jews, these House of Shammai, and what is his name, Hillel and Shammai? You know, and all these imposters, the ones that are of their father, the devil. So Rome is not the mother. Rome is one of the daughters. And she's mimicking the colors of her mother. Catholicism has never been the mother, but she clearly displays and flaunts that she is one of the daughters of her mother. Yeah, the mitre. Thank you, brother. Revelation chapter 17, verses 3 and 4. We're going to break down these colors a little bit. Ooh, I don't know if I'm going to have time to finish this part of it tonight, but hey, carry on. Well, I might, if I keep talking really fast and quit tripping over my lips, we might get done with this. All right, Revelation chapter 17, verses 3 and 4. So he carried him away in the spirit in the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon the scarlet-colored beast, full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And he's seen this great city, which is sitting upon, and of course the beast is going to be the kingdom or the government of this end-time world. All right, the New World Order, as we hear it called. But she's going to be ruling this, out of this great city, the Antichrist in this great city, this woman, Mystery Babylon, will be ruling the kingdoms of the world. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations, filthiness of her fornication. And I quickly looked at the word scarlet, which is just crimson or scarlet covered, for whatever that may add to this, just knowing that we can identify what the scarlet color is. Revelation 18, verse 16. Revelation 18:16. And saying, Alas, alas, that great city, of course you know by the early account of Revelation 18 that the great city, of course, is Babylon, Mystery Babylon, that great city, Jerusalem, the end Jerusalem that was clothed in fine linen, in purple and scarlet, decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. And now we're going to go to Ezekiel 16, and you're going to find out something about how Jerusalem was decked, how Yah saw it spiritually, okay? Because John saw these things in the spirit, not, physical appearance, but this was a spiritual setting. Ezekiel chapter 16, verses 10 through 14. 10 through, let me see. 10 through 16. And I think Pastor, not too long ago, had told everybody to go back and make sure they read Ezekiel 16, and it's a beautiful demonstration of, what Yah did when he called Jerusalem his own and called her his wife and covered her. But this is what he did for his holy city. Starting at verse 10. I clothed thee also with broidered work and shod thee with badger skins, and I girded thee about with fine linen. Okay, the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, decked with gold, and, verse 16. That great city that was clothed in fine linen, in purple and scarlet, decked with gold. So, and I girded thee about with fine linen and covered thee with silk. And I decked thee also with ornaments. All these descriptions sound just like we read in Revelation 18. And I put bracelets upon thy hands and the chain on thy neck. And he put a jewel on thy forehead, earrings in thy ears, and a beautiful crown upon thee. And he built up his holy city, made her renowned throughout all the world. This is where my name dwells. And I put a jewel on thy forehead, and earrings in thine ears, and a beautiful crown upon thine head. Thou was decked with gold and silver. And thy raiment was of fine linen and silk and broidered work. Thou didst eat fine flour and honey and oil, and thou wast exceedingly beautiful. And thou didst prosper into a kingdom, became mighty, from emanating from that city. And thou renowned, thy greatness went forth among the heathen for thy beauty, for it was perfect. Through thy comeliness which I had put upon thee, saith Yahweh the Elohim. Now remember how we made the comparison between the greatness of Babylon of old and the last day great city of Babylon. Here we read that Jerusalem's renown was made great because Yah chose to put his name there. And it was because of this that this city still has that particular draw. And this is why Satan must... I mean, how many people in the right mind want to go to a city that even today you can be subject to, being blown to bits or whatever the case may be because of all the infighting, the wars between the Philistines and these imposter Israelites, trying to keep their land. I mean, what would motivate you to go to this place? Because these people want to go see Jerusalem, Yah's holy city. It still has that draw. And this is why Satan must use this city to attempt to mock our Creator, actually sitting in the place of Yah as Yah, sitting in the temple. All right, the word renown is used in verse 14 is the Hebrew 8034, Shem. This is the Brown Driver definition. It's the name, reputation, fame, glory. The name is a designation of Yah, memorial monument. So it's just the name, the reputation, the glory, the glory, the fame, everything that comes from something that's great. Verse 15, but thou didst trust in thine own beauty, and played the harlot because of thy renown, and pouredst out thy fornications on every one that passeth by, as it was. So if you go back and read Revelation 17, what does it say about the mother of harlots, of abominations, committed fornication with all the kings of the earth? Same exact description. As it was. And of thy garments thou didst take, and deckest thy high places with diverse colors. And it doesn't say what the colors are, but I would have to say that the colors are scarlet and purple. And placed the harlot thereupon, the like things shall not come, neither shall it be so. Isaiah 14 is a chapter of prophecy. Okay, here again. She was beautiful, but she took the colors, took her beauty, and she decked the high place with her diverse colors and made herself... She wasn't arrayed in there, but she actually made herself using them colors of scarlet and purple, because my own determination is that these are the designations of the colors of a whore or of a harlot. So it wasn't like that until when Jerusalem again, Babylon the Great, becomes the harlot of nations over all the kings of the earth. She's going to dress herself up in the spirit, which is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, in the colors of a whore. Okay? Isaiah 14 is a chapter of prophecy concerning the king of Babylon, or Lucifer. Again, the king of the title. See the correlation, the comparison, the devil, the dragon, Satan. Many of his titles in the end time ruled by Satan incarnate in a man, which will come and present himself as the Messiah prophesied to come. Again, because the Jews over there say Jesus hasn't come, and when the man of sin comes on the scene, they're going to use the prophets of old, Yah's holy prophets, to substantiate to the world that this is the Messiah for to come. So to give you a good idea how this man is going to come into the scene by looking on the way of the prophets. How the book of Isaiah describes in 14:4 how the golden city, the end time Jerusalem, will cease from being. This is Isaiah 14 is talking. If you go back and look, the king of Babylon, of course it's dualistic in prophecy, not only saying that the king of Babylon, that golden city, ancient Babylon, the lesser, was actually called the golden city, but this one now, this is also dualistic, talking about Lucifer when he comes back as Satan incarnate, and what he's going to attempt to do and how he's going to get corralled in and destroyed. So go back and read the entirety of Isaiah 14 if you're not familiar with it. That thou shalt take up, again, Isaiah 14:4, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. True Hebrew Israelites will never identify and hold that this earthly Jerusalem is the home of the one true Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This earthly Jerusalem, which is the mother of harlots and in bondage, but the Jerusalem of Yah's true saints is the new Jerusalem, which is above, not of this earth, and the mother of all that is free. That is one of the reasons that we're going to be hated, because we already know that everything that's going on there is a lie right now. The whole entire thing, the whole area, Yah's people have been scattered. Have been gathered. Yet to this day, Yah doesn't do that gathering. They're not going to come back in to the land of Canaan by the Balfour Agreement. That's not the way Yah gathered his people back. Revelation chapter 17, verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. So remember, her, the woman, Babylon the Great, that great city, and upon her head, she is the mother of harlots, the mother below, the mother on this earth, and abominations of the earth. Galatians chapter 4, verse 25 and 26. Galatians 4, 25 and 26. For this Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, and answereth to Jerusalem, which now is, and is in bondage with her children. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. So us, the true Israelites, we're looking up, never to this foreign land over here that has been desecrated. Another sure way to identify that the woman on the beast, that great city which rules over the kings of the earth, is, and this city is Jerusalem / Babylon the Great, is what happens to the city when the wrath of Yah is poured out upon that great city, the great city. The similitude in judgment is remarkable. Again, the comparisons are so clear. All right, let me see what time it is here. Let me see. Well, we're chugging right along here. All right, Revelation chapter 11, verses 9 through Revelation 9 through 13. Revelation 9 through 13. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3.5 days, talking about the two witnesses, the two prophets that are put to death, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to put into graves. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. Okay, these prophets that prophesied 1260 days, what city was it? The great city, Jerusalem. As that's been clearly demonstrated earlier. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life of Yah entered into them. And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying, Come up hither. And they sent it up to the heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld. Remember, this was all taking place in the city of Jerusalem as we know it today. That holy city that John mentioned in the first two verses of chapter 11. And the same hour there was a great earthquake. And a 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the Yah of heaven. All right, Revelation 16, verses 17 through 20. Revelation 16, 17 through 20. We're focusing on the destruction of the city in part and in full. We're going to see there's two distinctions here. All right, 17, and the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, It is done. What's done? The last vial, the last remaining vial is poured out. All the wrath of Yah was finished and concluded with this last vial. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. And the great city was divided into 3 parts. This great city was divided into 3 parts. We also already know by Revelation 11 there was a great earthquake that happened where the 2 prophets were. We know the fact that they were in the city of Jerusalem, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where the Most High was crucified. So here we have again verse 19. And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell, And great Babylon came in remembrance before Yah to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath, concentrating what happens to the city. The focal point is the city and the earthquake that is taking place in the city. And every island fled away and mountains were not found. So in Revelation 11, a tenth part of the city fell, and there was 7,000 were killed. But the remnant, that's what I made the point before, the remnant were frightened and gave glory to the Yah of heaven. Meaning what I said earlier, there's still going to be a remnant hidden away in the city of Jerusalem, okay? As a testimony against Satan. He can't get everybody. He's going to try to make war on the saints, but of course, as we also know by the sealing of the 144,000, that there's going to be some preserved. And just looking back at the history of our people, Yah, even in the time of Elijah, man, was there anybody left that bends, that worships the Most High, that doesn't bend the knee to Baal? And Yah said, don't worry about it. I got 7,000 reserved. So here we got 7,000 men that were killed. So what do we have, 7,000 still in the city? I don't know. Interesting number, though. Not that there's anything to it, I'm just saying that. But anyway, I personally do not believe that the earthquake spoken of in Revelation 11:13 is the same earthquake spoken of in Revelation 16:18 for a number of reasons. Though they occurred in the same city, they were at different times. That the 11:13 quake, or Revelation 11:13, came during the time frame of the second woe. And John tells us that the third woe was to come quickly, and that during the third woe, the time of Yah's wrath, of 7 vile judgments will be unleashed upon the earth, and the 7th vial upon Mystery Babylon the Great, spiritually known as Sodom and Egypt, where our Messiah was crucified. That once holy city that was married to the Most High, his wife Jerusalem. So that's what I'm trying to point out. If you look in Revelation 11, this is right at the second woe, and then the third woe is yet to come when this earthquake happened, but the 7th vial was poured out right at the very end. That's when it is done. Now, let me see. Revelation chapter 18, 8 through 10. Revelation 18, 8 through 10. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day. This is all going to happen in one day. Death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, as strong as the Most High Yahweh who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication live deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament her, when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, Babylon, the one in mystery, the one that is hidden. The people don't know visually what it is actually in the spirit. That great city, Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. All right, going to Zechariah, back to the prophets, Zechariah 14, verses 1 through 5. Now this is going to line up perfectly with Revelation 16, where we talked about the 7th vial being poured out. Verse 1, Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh, and the spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. All right, I have to make this distinction here. Verses 1 and 2, At this time, this gathering of all the nations against Jerusalem is the same account that Jesus spoke about in Luke 20, chapter 20, verses 20 and 22, when he's going to compass Jerusalem's armies. The same account in Daniel chapter 11, when he's going to take the city by force as king, okay? And then 3.5 years later, we're going to see the conclusion, verses 3 through 5. So all nations are gathered against Jerusalem battle. They're going to take the city. Houses are going to be rifled. The women ravished. Half the city's going to go into captivity. There's going to be house cleaning right away. There's the rest going to be left to remain. And this is the time when it will be given totally to the Gentiles. And I believe this is the time when the abomination of desolation, which again, Elder Becker's own opinion, is the man of sin, comes into the city and sits in the temple. Then shall go Yahweh forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. Because all these nations, after they ransacked Jerusalem, they're going to remain there. They have to have a peacekeeping force to some degree, okay? So there's still going to be a representation of these nations in that city. I mean, there's talk of the United Nations, moving to Jerusalem. There has been for years, in a few other locations. But, personally, all the nations are going to be united in Jerusalem anyway, under the woman that sits over all the nations, the whole of the earth. And when it was fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem, on the east. This is when Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, comes back with his armies in Revelation 19. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof towards the east and toward the west. There's one section. And there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mount shall remove towards the north. That's two sections. And half of it towards the south. So you got the city was divided into three parts. Here Zechariah already talked about it. The same thing we talked about in Revelation chapter 16. So you have the center part from the east to the west. You have the northern part, which is one part in itself, and separated to the south is another part. You have the three parts. You have this great earthquake, and the seventh vial is going to separate this city. And you shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azel. Yea, ye shall flee like as you fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah king of Judah. And Yahweh the Elohim shall come, and all the saints with thee. Again, that's Revelation chapter 19. We're plowing right along. Boy, it's going to just cut real close here. We might get squeezing in. All right. Many of the same judgments to be pronounced against the woman, that is Jerusalem today, Babylon the Great, have been done before in the city of Jerusalem, and when they came to a full in the deeds of wickedness done before the Most High in the city called by his name. So again, we're going back to use biblical comparisons of what was and what shall be again. Revelation chapter 18, verse 20 through 23, dealing with that great city, Mystery Babylon, Jerusalem, today. We know it physically is Jerusalem. In the spirit, it's Babylon the Great, Sodom and Egypt. All right, verse 20. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, ye holy apostles and prophets, for Yah avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it in the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And the voice of the harpers, musicians, and pipers, and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of the millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. And the light of the candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And something just popped in my head. If you read Revelation 18, it talks about that, there's going to be people looking out the merchants in their ships and see the smoke of her burning. Well, I actually looked, if you look at a map, I think it's even less than 40 miles from where Jerusalem is now to the edge of the Mediterranean coast. So they definitely could see destruction of that magnitude. Yeah, they could see it that distance away. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 29 through 34. Jeremiah 7, 29 through 34. Cut off thy hair on Jerusalem, and cast it away, and take up a lamentation on high places. For Yahweh hath rejected and forsaken the generation of his wrath. For the children of Judah, remember we're talking about Jerusalem in context, historical context. For the children of Judah have done evil in my sight, saith Yahweh. They have set their abominations in thine house, which is called by my name, to pollute it. And they have built the high place of Tophet, which is in the valley of the son of Himnon, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I commanded them not, neither came it into my heart. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that it shall no more be called Tophet, nor the valley of the son of Himnon, but the valley of slaughter, for they shall bury it in Tophet, till there be no place. And of course, the valley of slaughter, as we find, we can also describe that as Armageddon or Megiddo, the valley of Megiddo. I really didn't have time to go look into lining both of them up, but I believe there's a very good correlation between the two, if in fact they're not meaning the same thing, but that's going to take a little more research. And the carcasses of this people shall be meat for the fowls of heaven, and for the beasts of the earth, and none shall fray of them away. Then will I cause, remember what we read in the end of Revelation 18, same wording, Jeremiah 7:34. Then will I cause to cease from the cities of Judah and from the streets of Jerusalem. This is what's going to be ceased from the streets of Jerusalem. The voice of mirth, the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, for the land shall be desolate. And so you remember what it said, Revelation 18:23, and the light of the candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee, for the merchants, for the great men of earth, for by their sorceries, for all nations deceived. So we have the same destruction going on. These things are going to cease from these cities, Babylon the Great and ancient Jerusalem. We have the same exact pattern going on. All right, greater similarities between the judgments of ancient Babylon and the woman Babylon the Great. So we can see the same. Remember I said earlier that ancient Babylon is an archetype, and using, in the mystery sense, what happened then is going to happen to Great Babylon now, which we already know, using Jerusalem in the actual sense. You can see the destruction that took place upon her when it was known clearly as Jerusalem, not hidden in the spirit of Mystery Babylon. All right, Jeremiah 51, verses 1 through 9. Jeremiah 51, 1 through 9, and then 25 through 45. Talking about the parallels and destruction against these great cities, the great city. Thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon, against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind. And I will send upon Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her hand. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. It sounds like when hours of judgment come, when the 10 kings of Revelation 17 give their power to the beast to destroy this city. They can come against this wicked city. And against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself and his brigandine, and spare not her young men, destroy utterly all her host. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his Yah, or Yahweh the Elohim of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. And it definitely filled with sin, but we're not going to be forsaken. Clearly it tells you again a prophecy there, dualistic in nature. Verse 6, flee out of the midst of Babylon. How often do we read that? We read that tonight. Get out and deliver every man his soul. That's not only talking about the physical Babylon that we know as Jerusalem. That's also talking about this system. As you know, Brother Paul brought up earlier, yeah, it is a system. It's a system confusion, as the word Babel comes from the word, or Babylon comes from, it's the root words of Babel. And deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. For this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Most High's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. And who had a golden cup in her hand with the abominations of the earth? That was the woman in Revelation 17. Verse 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. You know, all the merchants of the earth are going to howl, and they're going to say, alas, alas, the great burning, that great city Babylon is destroyed. We would have healed Babylon, but she was not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Verse 25 in Jeremiah 51, same chapter. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith Yahweh, which destroyeth all the earth. And I will stretch out my hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and I will make thee a burnt mountain. And thou shalt not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor stone for foundation. It is not ever going to be rebuilt, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith Yahweh. Set ye up the standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her. Call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Minni, and Ashkenaz, appoint a captain against her, because the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. Prepare against her the nations of the king of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof in the land of his dominion. Boy, I was so excited when I read this stuff. Man, it's been a while since I've been here. I wonder if there's actually 7 nations here. Boy, that would parallel Revelation 17, wouldn't it? Verse 44, and I will punish Bel and Babylon, and I will bring forth out of his mouth that which he hath swallowed up. Of course, Bel meaning the king of Babylon, or Satan incarnate, the worship of that god. And the nations shall not flow together any more unto him, yea, the wall of Babylon shall fall. My people, go out of ye the midst of her, deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of Yah. All right, well, how are we doing for time? Maybe we can squeeze a few more in here. Oh boy, we're going to be cutting it close. Revelation 18, verses 1 through, oh, that's a big one. It's about the whole chapter, I think. 1 through 24, yep. But describing Mystery Babylon the Great, just by reading Jeremiah 51, and before that, what did we read before that? No, it's Jeremiah 51. Basically, the parallel and destruction to that Babylon, the archetype of today's Babylon, Mystery Babylon the Great. Revelation 18:1, starting 18, I believe it's the whole chapter. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, is become the habitation of the devil, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every clean and hateful bird. Like we discussed earlier, this lines up perfectly with Revelation 11, 1 and 2, when it is given fully into the hand of the Gentiles. This is the fall of Jerusalem, when it becomes fully Mystery Babylon. For all nations have drunk of the wine of her wrath, of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich to the abundance of her delicacies, just like the archetype, the actual physical Babylon in the days of Nebuchadnezzar. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and ye be received not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven. The exact same word we find in Jeremiah 51. And Yah hath remembered her iniquities. Will reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. And if you overlay this with Ezekiel 16, I mean, it gives you a very full version, understanding what's going to happen in the end. And she lived deliciously, and how it went from something great to something that's sudden destruction. So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, I am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Untouchable. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Yahweh of hosts who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth which have committed fornication live deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament her, and when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar for the fear of torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, Babylon, that mighty city, for 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchant of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold and silver, precious stones and pearls and fine linen. This is going to be the hub of the world. This is going to be the melting pot of nations coming into this place. And silk and scarlet and diamond wood, and all manner of vessels of ivory, and all manner of vessels of most precious wood, and brass and iron. God, this is going to be Satan's holy city, after his name. Like it was Yah. He's going to make it marvelous and beautiful. And, you know, they have these two prophets, and they're just causing all kinds of torment. Now, you can imagine that, all the rage, wanting to get rid of these two men, and you can't do it. The cinnamon odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beast and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men, these people all having the mark of the beast. And thy fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly, are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. They'll be totally extinguished. The merchant of these things, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. What's it to say? It said, get the hell out of there. If this stuff comes down, you better run. Take off in the mountains. Get as far away as you possibly can. These people were there. They're all watching from way without. Saying, alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen, purple and scarlet, decked with gold, precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches have come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off. I mean, this is afar off, so it's only 40 miles away. I think it's actually less than that. And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, and saying, alas, alas, that great city. So, that'd be a good thing to watch for. They're going to build some type of megaport on the Mediterranean coast, what does that be due west of Jerusalem, straight west, where were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For 1 hour is she made desolate. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy prophets and apostles, for Yah hath avenged you on her. And the mighty angel took a stone like a great, and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more. Again, just relaying the same judgment, the same destruction, the same intensity of vengeance has not only happened to ancient Babylon, the city of old, and the empire, but this one as well. And the voice of the harpers, musicians, and pipers, and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee. No craftsman, we read that earlier, and finishing out in verse 24. Of course, we've been over that before. Ezekiel chapter 16, verses 1 through 3. Ezekiel 16, 1 through 3. Checking my time. Ooh, I'll read this, and I think we're going to be, if we don't get cut off. Again, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations, and say, Thus saith Yahweh, they only went to Jerusalem, thy birth and thy nativity. Oh, that's why I was going to say that for later. I guess we are done. We did meet it. Hallelujah. That's part of my next study. Ooh, glory to the King. Oh, I see what happened. All right, I know that was a whole bunch, and I poured on a lot. I really do hope it made sense, and you can see by my own determination, that's my own determination, Elder Becker, that Mystery Babylon the Great, that woman in Revelation 17, that great city is in fact what we know today as modern-day Jerusalem, and it'll be evident and made known to all of us here in the very near future, especially when the abomination and desolation stand up. But right now we got to watch for the beginning of sorrows, or go through the beginning of sorrows. On this entire face of the earth. Yeah, Brother Steve, I made tons. You got to see my notes, Brother Steve. I run out of pens. I stop and mull and think and start writing stuff, and then I got to look at this, I got to look at that, and then I forget. Then I get like, man, bring it back to me, Father, so I can remember. Anyway, hallelujah. Well, I sure hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all look for parts 2 and possibly 3. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope it was put together good enough to give you good understanding. Again, this is not conclusive. Of course, as we go on, knowledge shall be increased. We're going to study to show ourselves approved more and more and more, and the Father will open up more as we see the day's events unfolding and give us more of an understanding and a demonstration of what the Word is saying. But hey, I hope y'all have a great week, a blessed week. Be putting, getting your things ready for tabernacles to come here, and keep yourself, keep Pastor Dahl and the pastors of Israel lifted up in prayer, the elders, the heads of the assemblies, and yourselves. All right, pray for one another that you may be healed, and watch for the evil day as it approaches closer and closer. But with that, I bid you all adieu, which is French for goodbye. See, I'm pretty cultured, right? Hallelujah. I'll have to learn German for the next one. But anyway, hey, y'all be blessed. You have a good week. Stay encouraged. The King is coming.
Uh-oh, look at him looking.